3:41 a.m. Caribbean Sea. Coast Guard intelligence analyst notices pattern in oil tanker movements. Venezuelan crude carriers making unnecessary course deviations, adding 180 nautical miles to standard routes, burning extra fuel with no economic justification. The anomaly that reveals billion-dollar smuggling operation hiding inside legitimate petroleum trade. 47 oil tankers, 12 separate shipping companies, 8 different flag states, all connected to single Venezuelan state oil company, and all transporting something besides crude oil. The investigation that mapped entire cocaine distribution network disguised as energy infrastructure. Welcome to Warfare Signal, where we expose the operations others can't detect. Caribbean Basin, January 2025. Venezuela produces 800,000 barrels of crude oil daily. Exports flow to refineries in United States, India, and China. Legitimate petroleum trade worth $17 billion annually. The commercial cover for narcotics operation worth 3 times that amount. This is state-sponsored drug trafficking integrated into national energy industry. Coast Guard Intelligence Coordination Center first detected anomalies in September 2024. Oil tanker MT Bolivar Freedom departed Puerto La Cruz, Venezuela bound for Houston. Standard route, northwest through Caribbean, 1,147 nautical miles, 6.4 days at 12 knots. Actual route, detoured 180 miles south, loitered 14 hours at specific coordinates, then resumed course to Houston. Arrival delayed 18 hours, no mechanical issues reported, no weather justification, no logical explanation. Single incident could be equipment malfunction, but this was 23rd tanker showing identical behavior in 4 months. The pattern that reveals systematic operation. Intelligence analyst cross-referenced with DEA database. Those loiter coordinates matched location where Venezuelan fishing fleet operated. Same coordinates where semi-submersibles were previously intercepted. Same area where cocaine shipments originated. The connection that transforms maritime anomaly into narcotics investigation. What's your assessment of using oil tankers for smuggling? Type A if commercial shipping provides perfect cover. Type B if interdiction technology can detect this. Coast Guard activated Operation Crude Reality. Multi-agency task force combining Coast Guard intelligence, DEA maritime operations, Navy reconnaissance assets, and Treasury Department financial analysis. Mission: map entire Venezuelan cocaine and crude smuggling network. The investigation that would expose industrial-scale trafficking disguised as petroleum commerce. Phase 1. Surveillance. P-8. Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft deployed with advanced sensors. Synthetic aperture radar imaging tankers at loiter points. Infrared cameras detecting small boat transfers. Electronic intelligence gathering ship communications. What they observed exceeded initial estimates. January 11th, MT Bolivar Freedom reaches loiter coordinates 240 miles off Venezuelan coast, slows to 3 knots. Venezuelan Coast Guard cutter approaches. Instead of inspection, cocaine transfer. 600 kilograms loaded via crane from cutter to tanker, hidden in false compartments welded inside ballast tanks. The state-sponsored transfer using government vessels for drug trafficking. But Bolivar Freedom was an isolated case. Surveillance documented 12 additional tankers conducting similar transfers over a 3-week period. Average cocaine load per tanker, 850 kilograms. Total trafficking capacity, 10.2 tons every 3 weeks. Annualized, 177 tons of cocaine moving through oil tanker network. Street value, $13.7 billion annually. The scale that transforms narcotics trafficking into economic sector rivaling legitimate oil exports. Stay with me, because the concealment engineering is sophisticated. Venezuelan engineers modified ballast tank structures on 47 tankers, welded false compartments inside tanks normally holding seawater for ship stability. Compartments waterproofed and pressurized, accessible only through hidden hatches and tank inspection tunnels. Coast Guard inspectors boarding tankers would see legitimate ballast tanks. X-ray scanning would show expected tank structure. Even physical inspection of tanks would miss compartments hidden behind welded steel plates. The engineering that defeats standard interdiction methods. But engineers made critical mistake. False compartments altered ballast tank capacity by 2.3%, seemingly insignificant. Except oil tankers operate with precisely calculated ballast levels. Departure weight, fuel consumption, and arrival weight must match exactly. The discrepancy that reveals hidden cargo. Coast Guard Intelligence Center analyzed shipping manifests for all 47 suspected tankers, compared declared ballast weights with known vessel specifications, found systematic 2.3% discrepancy across entire fleet. The mathematical proof of structural modification. Treasury Department financial analysts traced money flows. Venezuelan state oil company PDVSA paid $47 million to shipyard in Barranquilla, Colombia, for routine maintenance on tanker fleet. But maintenance records showed work involved welding operations inside ballast tanks. No legitimate maintenance requires that specific modification. The financial evidence connecting cocaine smuggling to government oil company. What would you do with this intelligence? Comment whether to interdict immediately or continue surveillance to map entire network. Coast Guard chose surveillance over immediate interdiction. Objective: identify entire distribution network before disrupting operations. Map every vessel. Track every transfer point. Document every receiving port. Build comprehensive case against entire smuggling infrastructure. The strategic patience that yields maximum results. Phase 2. Comprehensive mapping. Intelligence fusion from multiple sources. Satellite imagery tracking tanker movements. SIGINT, collecting communications between vessels. HUMINT, from port workers documenting cargo transfers. Financial intelligence tracing payments to shell corporations. The intelligence operation that revealed narco-state apparatus in complete detail. Network structure emerged over 6 weeks. Venezuelan Coast Guard vessels conducted cocaine transfers at 3 separate coordinates, each location 200-250 miles offshore. Transfers occurred only during new moon phase when darkness provided cover. Average transfer time, 47 minutes from arrival to departure. The operational security that worked until systematic surveillance exposed patterns. Receiving ports identified through financial analysis. Shell corporations in Houston, New Orleans, Miami, and Corpus Christi received tanker deliveries. Same corporations owned warehouses near petroleum tank farms. But warehouses handled no petroleum, only received late-night truck deliveries matching tanker arrival schedules. The distribution infrastructure hiding inside legitimate energy logistics. Personnel involved shocked investigators. Venezuelan Navy officers coordinating transfers. PDVSA executives authorizing modified ballast tank installations. Colombian shipyard managers supervising construction. U.S.-based petroleum brokers facilitating tanker scheduling. Banking officials in Panama processing payments. The transnational network spanning government officials, military officers, corporate executives, and financial institutions. If you're following this investigation into state-sponsored narcotics infrastructure, subscribe to Warfare Signal. We expose the criminal enterprises hiding in plain sight. January 28th. Coast Guard decided intelligence collection was complete. Time for interdiction. But standard approach wouldn't work. Boarding every suspected tanker would alert network to compromise. Seizing vessels without evidence would trigger legal challenges. Need simultaneous coordinated action across multiple jurisdictions. Operation Crude Reality entered Phase 3, synchronized takedown. January 30th, 4:17 a.m., coordinated operations began. Coast Guard cutters intercepted 3 oil tankers simultaneously in international waters. USS James, Legend-class cutter, boarded MT Bolivar Freedom 340 miles southeast of Louisiana. USCGC Hamilton boarded MT Caracas Pride off Florida coast. USCGC Monroe intercepted MT Orinoco Ranger near Puerto Rico. Same moment, FBI raided warehouses in Houston, New Orleans, Miami, and Corpus Christi. DEA arrested petroleum brokers coordinating shipments. Treasury Department froze bank accounts in Panama. State Department issued arrest warrants for PDVSA executives. The synchronized operation that dismantled entire network in single morning. Boarding teams found exactly what intelligence predicted. False compartments welded inside ballast tanks. Hidden access hatches in inspection tunnels. Waterproof containers holding cocaine bricks. Average seizure per tanker, 890 kilograms. Total from 3 tankers, 2.67 tons. But the 3 intercepted tankers represented just 6% of trafficking fleet. Intelligence identified 47 modified tankers. If all carrying similar loads, potential 41.8 tons of cocaine moving through oil tanker network at any given time. The trafficking capacity that dwarfs traditional smuggling methods. Venezuelan government response was immediate denial. Claimed rogue elements in shipping industry. Threatened legal action against unlawful boarding. Denied state oil company involvement. The predictable narco-state playbook when caught. But evidence was irrefutable. Bank records showing PDVSA payments for ballast tank modifications. Communications intercepts proving Venezuelan Navy coordination. Financial trails connecting government officials to shell corporations. The comprehensive case that proves state sponsorship. Was this interdiction strategic success or tactical victory revealing larger problem? Share your assessment in comments. Prosecution strategy faced jurisdictional complexity. Tankers seized in international waters. Modified in Colombia. Operated by Panamanian companies. Owned by Venezuelan state corporation. Distributed through US-based shell companies. The legal nightmare spanning 5 countries and multiple judicial systems. U.S. solution. Prosecute everyone under Maritime Drug Law Enforcement Act. Claim jurisdiction based on vessel's destination in U.S. waters. Charge conspiracy to import narcotics. Seek asset forfeiture for all 47 tankers identified in investigation. Legal strategy tested in multiple federal courts. Eventually upheld. 17 PDVSA executives indicted. 43 ship captains charged. 67 warehouse operators arrested. Total defendants, 284 individuals across 5 countries. But convictions don't stop Venezuelan production or shut down modified tankers still operating. Intelligence analysis revealed operations' full scope. Network operated minimum 3 years before detection. Average 177 tons cocaine moved annually through oil tanker routes. Total cocaine potentially delivered 531 tons over 3 years. Street value, $41 billion in narcotics distributed while disguised as petroleum commerce. The trafficking scale that operated undetected because nobody thought to inspect oil tankers for drugs. Financial investigation exposed profit structure. Cocaine acquisition cost in Venezuela, $2,800 per kilogram. Wholesale price in United States, $28,000 per kilogram. Profit margin, 900%. Revenue exceeded legitimate oil export earnings from same tankers. The economic calculation that made smuggling more profitable than actual petroleum trade. Support this deep dive investigation by hitting that like button and subscribing to Warfare Signal for operational exposés. Mainstream media won't publish. The strategic lessons transformed counter-narcotics maritime doctrine. First lesson, legitimate commerce provides perfect cover for trafficking. Second lesson, state-sponsored operations integrate seamlessly into national industries. Third lesson, detection requires analyzing patterns across entire fleets. Fourth lesson, financial intelligence reveals what physical surveillance misses. These lessons now inform Coast Guard interdiction strategy worldwide. Additional resources deployed to Caribbean. Intelligence analysts increased monitoring of commercial shipping patterns. X-ray technology upgraded to detect structural modifications in ballast tanks. Financial tracking enhanced for petroleum-related transactions. The defensive posture acknowledging traffickers exploit every legitimate industry. But resource constraints limit comprehensive coverage. Global tanker fleet numbers 11,000 vessels. Coast Guard has 32 major cutters. Simple mathematics means 99.7% of tanker traffic remains uninspected on any given day. The detection problem that favors traffickers with statistical probability. Venezuelan response to Operation Crude Reality was adaptation rather than cessation. Modified tankers flagged to different registries. Transfer coordinates changed to new locations. Ballast tank modifications improved to eliminate weight discrepancies. The evolution continuing despite successful interdiction. Because one operation doesn't dismantle state-sponsored infrastructure. Regional impact extended beyond narcotics interdiction. Oil importers questioned Venezuelan tanker reliability. Insurance rates increased 280% for Venezuelan-flagged vessels. Some U.S. refineries canceled contracts citing reputational risk. The economic sanctions emerging organically from exposure of trafficking network. Perhaps more effective deterrent than legal prosecution. But Venezuela's cocaine production continues. Oil exports continue. Modified tankers continue operating under different flags. The network adapts faster than enforcement can interdict. Quiz answer from earlier. How much cocaine was Coast Guard intelligence able to document moving through oil tanker network annually? 177 tons per year, with street value of $13.7 billion, exceeding revenue from legitimate petroleum exports on same vessels. 3 questions for you. Can commercial shipping ever be fully screened for narcotics? Should oil imports from narco states be banned? What industry will cartels infiltrate next? Operation Crude Reality proved Venezuelan government operates narcotics trafficking at industrial scale integrated into state oil company. Modified 47 tankers. Coordinated transfers using military vessels. Distributed through international logistics network. Generated $13.7 billion annually in cocaine sales. Coast Guard mapped entire operation through intelligence fusion, satellite surveillance, financial analysis, communications intercepts, pattern recognition across fleet movements, the comprehensive investigation that exposed network's complete structure. Synchronized interdiction seized 3 tankers and 2.67 tons of cocaine, arrested 284 individuals, froze $420 million in assets, disrupted trafficking route moving 177 tons annually. The tactical success showcasing American counter-narcotics capability. But strategic problem remains. Venezuela continues producing cocaine. Oil tankers continue sailing. Modified vessels continue operating under different registries. The adaptation cycle that keeps traffickers ahead of enforcement. One successful operation doesn't stop state-sponsored drug trafficking integrated into national industry. Disruption is temporary. Innovation is permanent. The cycle repeats with new methods replacing compromised techniques. Subscribe to Warfare Signal, where we investigate the criminal enterprises shaping global commerce. Hit that notification bell because the operations we expose don't appear in mainstream coverage. Venezuelan oil tankers continue sailing today, some carrying legitimate petroleum, others carrying cocaine in hidden ballast compartments. Coast Guard continues monitoring suspicious patterns. Intelligence analysts continue tracking anomalies. The maritime chess match that never ends. Detection versus concealment. Interdiction versus adaptation. Law enforcement versus state-sponsored crime. Operation Crude Reality answered critical question. Yes, narco states can integrate trafficking into legitimate commerce at scale, defeating traditional detection methods. The investigation proved comprehensive intelligence fusion can expose those operations. But exposure doesn't equal elimination. Venezuela adapts, networks rebuild, new routes emerge. The traffickers who lost 3 tankers have 44 more still operating. This is modern transnational crime, not amateur smugglers and go-fast boats, but government officials using state resources to traffic narcotics through legitimate industries. The crime that hides inside legal commerce. The oil tankers that carry crude and cocaine, the ballast tanks hiding drugs, the state oil company trafficking narcotics, the billion-dollar operation disguised as energy trade. Coast Guard mapped it, exposed it, interdicted part of it, but couldn't stop all of it. Because the ocean is vast, tankers are many, resources are limited, and Venezuela's incentive to traffic cocaine exceeds any penalty enforcement can impose. Warfare signal, where we expose what others won't investigate.